of zakat. Unlike other animals, for camel, before getting 25 heads, zakat will not be taken out of the camel. Camel, the minimum taxable amount is 5. But if you have 5 camel, you must give zakat. You are not going to give zakat out of the 5, and it remains 4. No. Instead, you will give out a sheep, whether it is a goat or a ram. 5 camel, you give 1 goat or one ram to stand for the zakat. 10 camel, you give 2 sheep or 2 sheep, whether 2 goat or ram. 15 camel, you give 3. 20 camel, you give 4 sheep, whether goats or rams or the mixture of the two. Up to 25. Before getting 25, even up to 24, you give out 4 sheep in place of the camel. But upon possessing 25 camel, now this is the time that the individuals will start giving zakat out of the camels themselves. And out of 25 now, you give out one, which is at the age of which is in its 2nd year. Or in its 3rd year, depending on which one you give. You either give a female camel of what they call, in the language of the ulama of jurisprudence, what they call bint mahad, is a female camel which is in its 2nd year, or ibn labun, which is a male camel which is in its 3rd year. This is what they should give out for 25 camel, and the situation remains the same until the time you get 36. If anybody among those of us who possess camels in this country gets up to 36 heads of camel, and in this case the zakat will change. Instead of giving bint mahad, that is the female camel which is in its 2nd year, or ibn labun, which is in its 3rd year, the male one which is in its 3rd year, you are now going to give another type which is referred to in the language of the Islamic jurists as bint labun. Is a female camel which is in its 3rd year. For camel, the more the years advance, the year advances, the more expensive and the more valuable and the more useful it becomes. And that is why the more heads you have, the older in age the one that you should give out becomes. So out of 36 camel, one should give female camel which is in its 3rd year. And the situation remains the same until the time that the individual gets 46. Now, any time that a person gets 46 camel, again the type will change. It will now be a female camel referred to as hiqqa, a female camel which is in its 4th year, which has completed 3 and it is now in its 4th year. That is what you should give out. That is what one should give out of every 46 camel. That is a female one which is in its 4th year. The situation continues and remains the same until the time that the number of camels reaches 61. And here too, at 61, upon reaching 61 camels or heads, the zakat will change. The type now will be what is referred to in the language of the jurist as jaza. It's a female camel too, which is in its 5th year. Remember what I said, the more the age, the more advanced the age is, the more useful, the more valuable that it becomes. And therefore, upon reaching 61, the taxable type will be jaza, which is a female camel in its 5th year. And the situation remains the same until the number reaches 76. Upon reaching 76 now, from 76 now, the individual will start giving 1 camel out of a bulk, out of a whole. From 25 to 61, anytime you give 1 out of the lot. But the only change is that the types will change from the 2nd year to from one which is in its 2nd year to one which is in its 3rd year to the other one in the 4th or 5th year. But once the number goes up to 76 now, instead of giving 1 out of the lot, the individual must give 2 out of the lot, and now the 2 will be 2 bint labun. These are the 2 female camel of 2 years old. 2 female camel of 2 years old out of 76 camel. That is when the number reaches, there are 2. And the situation remains the same until the number reaches 91. upon 91, reaching 91 also, even though the person will still give 2 out of the lot, but here, instead of giving 2 female camel of 2 years each, the person will be tasked to give 2 female camel of 4 years each. And this is a very, very valuable amount. And anybody that receives this, any poor man that is given a camel of 4 years old, it must be given a lot of, it will be economically empowered in a very, very significant way. So 91, you give out 2 female camel of 4 years each, and it continues that way until it reaches, the number reaches 121. Once the number reaches 121, here the individual is given an option. Either he or she gives out 2 camels of 4 years old each, or 3 camels of 2 years old each. Either 2 heka or 3 bintilabon. In other words, upon reaching or getting 121, the individual can either give 2 female camels, each of which is 4 years old, or 3 female camels, each of which is 2 years old. And the situation continue like that until the time it, it increases. Any increase that comes after this will now change. It will change the equation. Then now we will stop giving one from this, one from that, and then the formula becomes much simpler. 121, if you get 130, 140, 200, 500, 600, the formula becomes simple. The formula becomes very simple. And now the person then should be giving, in fact, from 121 to 130. When upon reaching 130, the person will give 1 female camel of 4 years old and 2 female camel of 2 years old each. That is 130. When it is 130, like when it was 121, he or she should give 2 female camel of 4 years each, or 3 female camel of 2 years each. But now, upon reaching 130, 1 female camel of 4 years old and 2 female camel of 2 years old. But then after 130, this is what I mean, here is where the equation will have to change, and the formula becomes much simpler. And in this case, every 40 camel now, you give bintilabon. And as I explained earlier on, is the female camel of 2 years old. After every 40, you can count if you have 150, 200, 300, count for every 40 camel, for every 40 camel, you can give out 1 female camel of 2 years old. And then that makes the whole thing very simple and very easy. and again, at the same time, the wealth, that type of wealth, which happens by God's destiny to be concentrated in few hands or in the hands of few individuals, will be sort of redistributed, so that the have-nots or the poor or the masakin will get their share. And that is the essence of zakat. Like I explained the last time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so destined that some people are destined by God to be poor. Some people are destined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be wealthy, to have, and those that do not have. But after all, mal or property belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wealth comes from God, and it belongs to God alone. No matter how much of it you have, it's just a divine trust from Allah. One day, sooner or later, the wealth will deviate you, will leave you and go to another person. And in fact, this is the reason why it is called mal. It's from the Arabic language of mal yamil, means something that comes to you for a while and then it diverts or deviates and leave you and go elsewhere. Whether you die or you become poor, whatever, but no particular condition is permanent in this life. But because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed it this way, that some of us are destined to be wealthy, while others are destined to be poor, it is the same Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who introduced this method of redistribution of the wealth that comes from Him to us, which we are holding in trust for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zakat is a very, very important socio-economic institution of Islam. And it's a method of redistributing the wealth in society. From camel, we go to cattle, or make a cow. and here too, the situation is not very complicated. It's very simple. It's much simpler to understand. Anything below 30 is not subject to zakat. I'm sure my fuller cousins will be happy to hear this, that up to anything less than 30, you are not supposed to give zakat, because it is always difficult for a fuller man to give out, to lose a cattle or to lose a cow. But once you will get up to 30, now here Islam is saying that give out one. No matter how painful it is for you to give out, you must take out one and give it to the poor. It is not for you, it is for them. And it's not you giving